The Faceless Man. There's a story whispered in the town of Black Hollow, about a man who lives in the forest, devoid of a face. They say he appears when you're most alone, feeding on the fear of his victims. No one truly believes it until they see him. It was a cold, moonless night when Clara found herself walking through the dense woods, a shortcut back to her car after a late shift at the diner. The woods were silent, save for the occasional crunch of twigs beneath her boots. Her flashlight flickered weakly, the batteries dying faster than she'd anticipated. She felt it before she saw it, the shift in the air, heavy and oppressive, like the world was holding its breath. The silence became suffocating. Even the distant hoot of an owl was gone. She tried to shake the feeling of being watched, chalking it up to exhaustion and nerves. But then, she saw him. At first, he looked like a shadow among shadows, standing unnaturally still between the trees. He was tall, impossibly tall, with limbs that seemed too long and a neck that stretched unnervingly. His head tilted slightly, as though studying her, but there were no features, no eyes, no nose, no mouth. Just smooth, pale flesh where a face should be. Clara froze, her breath catching in her throat. Her flashlight flickered again, casting his form into momentary darkness before illuminating him once more. But now, he was closer. She stumbled backward, her feet tripping over roots and rocks as she fumbled for her phone. No signal. Panic set in as the Faceless Man took a step forward. His movements were wrong, jerky, like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. "Who? What are you?" she managed to choke out, her voice trembling. He didn't answer. Of course, he couldn't. Instead, he raised a long, skeletal hand, pointing directly at her chest. Clara felt a sudden, searing pain in her ribs, as though something inside her was being pulled. Her breath hitched, and she doubled over, clutching at her chest. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. She looked up to see him inches away now, his featureless face somehow radiating malevolence. Her vision blurred, darkness creeping in from the edges. The last thing she saw before everything went black was her reflection in his smooth, pale skin, a mirror of herself, screaming in silent terror. When Clara's body was found days later, her face was missing. It wasn't mutilated or torn, it was simply gone, replaced by smooth, pale skin. No eyes, no nose, no mouth. The townsfolk whispered again, warning one another not to wander into the woods alone. But no matter how many warnings were given, the Faceless Man always found someone new to claim. And some say if you stand in front of a mirror long enough, you might catch a glimpse of him, standing just behind you, waiting.